makes no mistake.
Jake Hollman, quite numbered up here, Brisbane. Hollman goes down, aimed it, what a piece. I thought, he's twisting and turning, he goes again.
At the byline, cross inside, deflected, Hollman again! And buries it!
Up on that front, of course, as Hollman bounces one off Benyard. Oh, beautiful ball! Derbyshire!
That lets them off the hook. Milligan gets in that tackle because of the touch. What about Hollman? Have a go at this for a young player. The vision and the execution of the pass, absolutely.
Nice work from Hollman. Just dribbling and dragging defenders in. Just teasing them, inviting them to have...
Yeah, nice to meet you as well, Sergio. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm keen for this chat. It'll be good.
That's good. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of context of who we are. So we are Game Day Soccer Academy. We got two locations. We are in Wright and also in Narella, which is Camden area. And most of the kids are Macarthur FC supporters, and they see that the team is full of young people, young players like you that are really good players, and also some experienced players, and they love the team and they also admire you as a player and also for the achievement you got. And we wanted to put this space for the kids, especially, and the families, especially in the lockdown, because they need to be motivated, and nothing better than with a player like you join us today.
Yeah, thank you. It's good that everyone goes to Macarthur. It's a great club, and we're trying to go one more next year, so we'll see if we can do that.
That's great. So, Jake, why don't you tell us a little bit about when do you start? How do you get to Macarthur FC? How was your journey when you were a kid?
Okay. Well, I started off under sixes, as probably most of you guys have, just playing for fun. And I think that's the key thing, is that you do it out of enjoyment, because that's the only way you will get to any level. I started playing locally, and that was good fun, playing with my mates. And then obviously, as most of you will understand, once you have a talent or an ability, you enjoy it more. So I just loved the game. You couldn't get me away from the ball. And then I just went up and up the ranks through the age groups. And then I'm a Manly boy, so the Northern Beaches. So I went to Manly United, which I'm sure most of you know about, 12s, 13s. And then the Institute opened, Football New South Wales, and I was invited to go there. So I then went there, and then loved it there, and you were against the best kids of your age, so everyone was super competitive, but it's what it took to go to the next level. And then as soon as the Sydney FC Academy opened up, I was invited to join that, so I was there for the next 4 years. Towards the end, I was training with the first team, and then Macarthur called me, wanted to sign me, and the rest is history. And now I'm here, just on my first season, about to start my second.
That's so impressive. Congratulations on that. I know that you're living the dream. These kids want to be in your place as well. They some of them are working to get there, and they training. Yeah. All as you said, all about enjoyment. And that leads me to my next question, and about the semi-final. So I think that the biggest game you play. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about being... Actually, you were so important in the game against Central Coast. Central Coast, that you played that ball and then arrived to score.
Yeah, so it was an amazing feeling. It's a feeling that when you're growing up, you can only imagine, and you can only watch on the TV. So I was super lucky, and it was a super special feeling. And then it was just one of those feelings where adrenaline has just gone through your body. I think there was about 14,000 fans there, and about 13,500 were Central Coast Mariners fans. So to hear the noise drop when we scored that goal was amazing. So it was one of the best feelings of my career to date, yeah.
What did you do that night?
Well, firstly, a lot of the boys went out after. When we got back, we went out and just had a couple of drinks to celebrate. Because a lot of the older boys, they're retiring. It's the end of their career, so they want to cherish everything, and you don't get to win many semi-finals much. So we made the most of it, but it was only for one night because then we had a semi-final the next week.
But that's pretty normal. That's you all human beings, also professional players that enjoy life. But you're a young player of the A-League. What's the feeling like? You're also surrounded by experienced players. How do they influence your game?
Oh, massively. So youth football to senior football is, you don't really know until you've done that progression, but massively different. From the youth football, you've got coaches like Sergio who are pushing you through, working you through, giving you advice. Once you get to senior football, it's either you're good enough or you're not. So you're good enough, you want it enough, or you don't have a contract. And so then everything gets onto your shoulders. You've got to start being more independent and resilient with how everything's going. And obviously that's going to come with age and experience. But that's the main thing I've noticed this year, being a first-year professional footballer, is that I've only got me. That's all that I can control. And that's what you have to put all your effort into. So it's not, oh, coach, how come I wasn't playing? I want to play because I want to play. It's, am I good enough? Do I deserve to be? Because you've got, for example, you've got Macarthur. I'm sure you all know him.
Spanish.
He's played 700 La Liga games. And this is my first A-League career, my first A-League season. So am I going to be going to the coach, hey, boss, I want to play? And he's going to be like, all right, if you want to have a fun this week, have a fun game this weekend, you can play. It doesn't work like that. So that's the main difference with it all, yeah.
Jake, for example, that if you're playing with such a big player, but you also want to beat him, that doesn't mean that you don't want to play, or if you have to take his spot, you wouldn't take it.
Yeah, 100%. So that's part of being a professional footballer, is that you've obviously got belief in your own ability and you want to play. You're hungry to play. Obviously, I wanted to play every game. But you've also got to have perspective. And the only way you're going to get to where I want to get to, which is obviously play overseas, play socceroos, I hope you all want to do the same, or even just be a professional footballer, is to have what Sergio said, that cutthroat mentality where who's better than me, who's playing where, what's he good at, what am I not good at, and then it's almost just a competition. Yeah, it's a competition against yourself to improve yourself every day, but it's also externally based, where you can only kick 11 players every game. Sometimes you can, say for a goalkeeper, you can only have one, and they play 95% of the season. So it's about who you're better than, or who you're not better than, and getting better than them, staying better than them, and then making the gap bigger.
That's good, and that's also something that we admire. I went to the Sydney Wanderers game, the first game Macarthur played, and I was looking at you, at Loki Rose as well, some of the young players, because I really engage with the players that are in the mind of the players, and something that I really like is the personality of, I think, both of you. Even out of the field, I don't know you, but in the field, you took that ball on the right side, start dribbling players. This defender stopped you, that was a free kick, and from that was the winning goal of the first A-League game of Macarthur FC.
Yeah.
So it takes some mentality, and I'm gonna dribble this player, I don't care who they are, and that's something very, like, I don't know, how do you train your mentality, because that requires some character.
Yeah, I'd like to say that hard work is the preparation. So you don't just go out and do that dribble on the A-League and not having practiced doing your dribbling your whole life. So I'm confident with that, because what am I, 19? I've done 13 years of constant dribbling practice, not just dribbling, but that's a strength of my game. I really enjoy dribbling. So I've worked on it like 5-6 times a week, every week. So I'm confident with my ability to do it, and that's why I got signed. And so as a coach, you need to have a bit of X factor, which makes you better than other people. So I knew that my dribbling was the thing that he liked about me, and I know that I can dribble past 95% of the players in the league. I back myself against them. So it's just about having that confidence that you can do it, but it stems from the preparation because you've done it 10,000 times on Camden Oval, for example. So you know you can do it, and then once you do it once in the A-League, what's the difference between that and what you've done against other players? You're there for a reason. Back yourself and you can do it.
That's fantastic. You just touch a very important point. There are players that think maybe they're doing that kind of stuff because they're naturally talented. All right, they might think you are a special boy, and the real reason behind that is that you've been working so hard for that, and at this age it's hard to believe. All right, everyone talks about work and everyone talks about you putting the effort, but how was your journey during your training sessions? Like, how was Jake doing in a training session at, let's say, 10, 11, 12 years old?
Yeah, so I've always been talented. I'm not going to hide from the fact and lie to you all saying it's all hard work. I've obviously always been talented, but talent can only take you so far. So yeah, you can be 10 years old and be super talented and be the best in your team. But when a kid has worked for 6 years, so say you get to 16, harder than you every single day, that gap's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until they eventually overtake you, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So talent can only get you so far, but pairing talent with the desire to, I want to get better every session, every shooting drill, I'm trying to hit the target every time, or I'm going to find the bottom corner 9 out of 10 times, is what's ultimately going to keep you above the rest if you've got the talent. And if you don't have the talent compared to others, then I'm going to do twice the work that student A is going to do, so that I bridge that gap and I get more comfortable with that.
Yeah, like you've been playing mainly at Sydney FC, and even when you're in the youth environment, in a professional environment where everyone is competing, there is something that make you reach the level and sign a professional contract, that there are some kids that have been in your team, that have been with you in the same training, and they didn't make it. What you reckon is the difference?
But it's going to sound cliche, but I was part of the under 20 socceroos that just won the AFC a year ago, and you look at that, you think, oh, we've got to be the cream of the crop. I think only about 5, 6, 7 players played an A-League minute this season. So what's the difference is who's willing to tick on from that level of, yeah, I've represented my country at under 20 level, but I want more. So you've got thousands and thousands of kids competing for one contract or 2 contracts, for example, because you've got foreigners coming in, you've got players already in the league, you're competing against your team and the 15 other teams in your league for that one contract. So I honestly believe the thing that separates you is your willingness to make your life out of it. So you don't want to become a professional soccer player, you need to, because that's the only way you're going to, because there's people out there like me that need to be a footballer. Like it is my life. So if I'm going to play Fortnite, or I'm going to play FIFA for 3 hours in the school holidays, while I'm up at the Oval kicking a ball for 3 hours, you're joking yourself if you're going to overtake me. You're going to get my contract. You know what I mean?
Love it. Thank you, because there are a lot of kids that say, I love football, I'm so passionate, that's my life, I want to be a footballer. But then they train 50% during the training sessions, or they don't want to work on the weak foot, they don't want to go and spend time with the ball at the park, in the backyard. And it's very different to say it than put in the work.
Yeah, ultimately, it's actions speak louder than words. So people will know if you want to be a footballer. They won't have to ask you.
That's great. What is the challenges in being a young player that, for example, you need to spend time with the ball, training, traveling, focusing 100% in football, and then at the same time you got friends next to you, you got maybe chicks, maybe party, maybe some other stuff. How do you balance that? Because you're still a human. You still need to enjoy your life. How do you manage all that stuff?
Yeah, I'm still a human. I still got to enjoy my life, but it's gonna sound loser. But I get my enjoyment from my football. So a lot of it actually does still come from my football. So ultimately, when you grow up loving your football and playing your football, your best friends become your football friends. So ultimately, my friends I don't know if you know Cam Neuenhoff or Patrick Wood. They play Sydney FC A-League. Got Levi coming through the system through there as well. They all got similar goals to me, so they're not really too much of a distraction. And the only distraction really is the party, the alcohol when you get older. But again, if you want to be a footballer, it's not too much of a sacrifice to give up the party life or the alcohol. You know what I mean? So it's about how much you're wanting it and how much you're willing to either sacrifice or give up to make it your life.
No, very good. Thanks for that advice for all these kids. And Jake, your family, how did your parents impact the way you are right now and where you are right now?
Massively. My whole life, they've supported me through whatever I wanted to be, backed me fully, which I'm super appreciative of, because I don't think I'd be where I am today without their guidance and their backing, because like hour and a half to training for 3 years, 5 times a week is a big demand on them. And I don't think I'd be where I am if I wasn't able to do that and condition myself against the best. But then they've also drilled me really well, in my opinion, about having to have a proper education, doing really well at school. If I don't get certain marks or certain attendances, then you're not playing on the weekend or you're not playing for a certain amount of weeks. So that was a really good way of getting perspective of life, and becoming smart about off the field as well, because I'll tell you now, you want to be a footballer, you've got to put all your eggs in one basket. Say you get a bad injury, or for some reason something goes wrong and you can't be a footballer and you miss out. What do you got left if you don't? You understand where I'm coming from? So they've kind of guided me and supported me to be a footballer, but also made me aware of what if this happens? What if you don't? Which made me become more of a well-circled human, I believe.
That's very good. And Jake, how did you, all right, not to pay back to your parents, but how can you be grateful now, because you're older, you understand all that what they have done, but how can you maybe tell these kids what is a best way to say thank you, parents, for what you do, thanks for taking me to the training sessions, thanks for all the effort you do? How can you pay as a son, as a boy, to them? How can you pay them back?
Scoring a goal on the weekend.
And celebrating it with them.
No, yeah, I think you've just got to remind them every session. Thanks, Mum. Thanks, Dad. Really appreciate it. I learned this, and then you show them that you actually do really appreciate it by working on what you've learned or what you've realised you need to work on outside of their time. If you're constantly, oh, Mum, can you take me to this? Dad, can you take me to that? They're going to be like, are they just using me? So you jump on your bike, ride up on your bike to the oval, and you work on it. And then they will understand that you actually are grateful for what they're doing.
I read a paper that says that you drive to training at Campbelltown.
Yeah.
So that's a sacrifice from your own time. That's, of course, you love it. But still requires a lot of commitments. And I'm sure that even if they don't pay you, you will not do it. You will not drive 3 hours a night. So no issue with that. Just for the passion and love that you feel for the game.
Wake up 5:30 every morning, 5 times a week, just to get there by 7.
Fantastic. How many days a week do you train?
It depends when we play. So we like to do a 4-day lead-in. So if we're playing on the Saturday, we'd start on the Tuesday. And then we have 1 day off after the game. So say we play Saturday, we'll have Sunday off, Monday on, Tuesday off, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday training, and then Saturday we play. If we're playing interstate, we usually travel the day before and do a training session, say in Adelaide, before the game, the day before the game, and then we play the next day and head off that night.
You just mentioned Adelaide. Remember also that game, another assistance, where you bring that defender in and out in the no angle, see you later, cross it, goal. Oh, it's amazing as well. And a lot of skills required to do that. But as you said before, you should have done it before. You've done it before.
Yeah, it's just almost muscle memory. If you got the ability to do it and you're there because you do have the ability to do it, then why not do it? So I didn't really think about it. It was just, when you've done a situation enough, you kind of just know what you got to do and what needs to be done. But it was an amazing feeling because we were actually 1-0 up away from Adelaide, and they have a really good support base there. A couple of flares were in the air, so I was struggling to breathe with the gas down my throat. So it was a good little break, and it was a nice goal, good assist, so I was happy.
That was very good. And the last one from me, Jake, in regards of the coaching you received, what is the most valued advice from a coach? Or a couple of coaches might be giving you some advices. What do you reckon are the best advices you've received from a coach?
Yeah, I think it varies at the stage of the career you're in. For these boys, when you're 10, 11, 12, it's more of like a guidance in what can they do in certain situations. How can they improve on what they're doing? I found that really, really valuable when I was younger. And like the older you get, then the more strict and tactical the trainings would get. So I think once you get to a stage where technically you're very sound, then you just got more demands on you outside of the actual soccer. So the technical side is one side of it, but the tactical and the physical then become more important as you get to senior football. And then the same principles apply as I've been saying. The coaches that have really made an impact on me are the ones that have pushed me to be the better version of myself, and actually facilitated for that. So certain training sessions, even this year in the A-League setup, Ante Milicic, I'm not sure if you know him, is the boss, is the head coach. He knows that technically I'm one of the best in the team. So he made a specific drill that I was only on one touch. So everyone else had 2 or 3. I was only on one touch and I was a swinger for both. And as a player, you love that because you know that the coach is looking after you. Well, he's looking after you. He's making it hard for you, but he's wanting you to improve. And ultimately, that's what makes you better. So it was those sessions like that where they show that they've got belief in you, but they want to push you without nurturing you. And Jake, you're so good, you can do whatever you want. You've got 5 touches. Because ultimately that doesn't help because you're there for a reason because you're good enough. So you don't need 5 touches. So he wants to push you. So the coaches that push you but facilitate that.
That's great, taking you out of your comfort zone as well.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Jake, I got just a very quickly kind of game for you. I got about 10 questions here on a piece of paper. So easy questions, but just to do it like quick answers as well.
Yep, no dramas.
Go through that?
Yep.
All right, good. All right. First one, best football memory.
Probably my first A-League assist.
Fantastic. How many soccer boots do you have?
10, 11, 12.
Describe football in one word.
Sorry, you dropped out there.
Yeah, sorry. Describe football in one word.
Enjoyment.
Will you coach kids later in your life?
Definitely.
Who would you go with to a World Cup final?
Have to say my dad.
Dad. Who's your mentor?
Yeah, my mum and dad.
Mom and dad. Best coach in the world?
Pep Guardiola.
Best player in the world?
Lionel Messi.
Euro Cup champion?
Italy.
If you could have a superpower, what will it be?
Invisible, so you can pop up in the field and score.
Well done. Thank you very much, Jake. Excellent.
Thank you for having me.
That's all from my side. I would like if you got maybe a couple more minutes for a couple of kids to join us and ask you a question if they have.
Yep, all good. There's no dramas.
Thank you. That would be good. So, boys, if you want to ask a question to Jake, please put your hand up so I know who is that. I'm gonna mention you, and then you're gonna be able to join in. Get your micro ready. All right, got the first one in my screen here. Didi, big supporter. Maybe Jake have seen you in the field. So unmute yourself, Didi.
Did you always want to be a midfielder?
Yeah. Ever since I started to be positions, even when there wasn't positions, I was just everywhere on the field. So yeah, I've kind of penciled myself in to be a midfielder from a young age. And I like 10 because it's more attacking, but I also reckon I can play the 8 role.
Good. Didn't remember to say hello first. Say hello. Say hello. How are you?
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What position do you play?
Centre back.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Left or right?
Right.
Right. Make sure you work on your left foot then, yeah?
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you. Next one. I got here Christopher.
How many games have you played this season?
Do you say hello first, Christopher?
I played, I think it was about 17. Yeah, 17. Three starting, and then the rest were off the bench.
Let's go with Dylan and Connor. You need to unmute your micro. Yep.
What's your favorite club you played for?
Oh, well, I've only really played for Macarthur, so I have to say them, don't I? I can tell you're a Macarthur fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dominic Patricio.
What do you feel like when you're playing with the fans are screaming at you? Yeah.
Yeah, at the start, I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit unique. It was a special feeling because obviously when you play youth football, you don't really get such an atmosphere. And so the first couple of weeks, you walked out warming up, and there was the fans there cheering, and you get a bit of a goosebumps because I can assume that you'd always want to experience that. But then once you get comfortable in the environment, you don't actually really hear them because you're switched on to the job that you got to do. So yeah, it's a good feeling, but I more notice it after the game, like when I come around and do signatures and stuff, because I really appreciate the support. But when I'm playing, I'm kind of switched on and I don't hear too much.
Leonidas.
Who inspired you to play soccer?
No one really. I always just loved it. But then when I started enjoying it, I reckon I've got to say Ronaldinho. When I started watching him, he was a freak with the ball.
Kate.
What about you?
Messi.
Messi, yeah. See, Ronaldinho was the best when I was young.
Magician. Kate.
Hello. When you come up a player that's bigger than you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, and what do you say to yourself?
I don't really look at their size when I come up against a bigger player. For me, the main thing that I worry about is their speed. So if I know they're quick, then I know that I have to trick them into doing something else that I'm not going to do, so I can get an advantage on them. And obviously, if they're quick, you got to do everything else quick. If they're not so quick, then you can probably beat them with your speed and your pace. So that's what I really try and kind of take into account when before I even receive the balls. Obviously, at an A-League level, you've got an analysis on the individual players before you go out and you play them, so you know this. But for me, size isn't the biggest issue because soccer is a smart person's game. So if you can trick them into believing you're going to do something and you do something else, like dropping the shoulder or pretending to pass, put your foot on the ball, you'll get yourself a bit of space or a bit of time needed to execute your skill or to get a bit more space for yourself. So I don't think size should be the big issue for you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what position do you play?
Normally like right or left mid or right wing. Or
Yeah,
left wing.
so most of the time you don't want to be receiving the ball with a defender on you anyway. So if you're receiving the ball with the defender on you, you're probably not doing something right in the first place. So try and worry about your movement to get yourself free enough so you don't need to get into a physical fight. Because wingers should be technical, quick and sharp, yeah?
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. We got 3 more. Ethan.
Is there any other positions you're really good at?
10's my strongest, and 8, and then left wing I also played a bit of this year.
Fantastic. Lucas. Need to unmute? Yep. Unmute yourself, Lucas. Yep, now.
How come you like Messi?
He's just a magician on the ball, don't you think? The things he does, the way he dribbles, he can score, he can assist, he helps in the build-up play. I just watch him and the stuff he does just drops my jaw. Are you a Ronaldo fan?
Yeah.
Lockie, Cody.
Hi. What do you think makes you the best? Well, not the best, but what do you think makes you a great midfielder?
Being the attacking midfielder, you obviously need some creativity to be able to break open the defences. So I think for an attacking midfielder, you need to be incredibly comfortable on the ball in tight situations with, as the other guy said, big defenders on you, strong defenders on you. So you need to be able to control the ball exactly where you want it. You need to be able to dribble at speed off both feet, getting away from defenders whilst also taking knocks. And then you also need to have a great way to pass. If you're going to play a through ball, the angle of it, the speed of it, the direction of it. And then also you need to be able to score a goal, especially at the number 10 position, because goals win your games and you need to win a game, especially at professional football. As a more of an 8 aspect, it's about knowing what you're going to do before you get the ball, because if you lose the ball at the 8, then your team's almost stuffed. So you have to have a really high retention rate of keeping the ball, and be really, really accurate with long and short passing off both feet, and also have the defensive side of the game down pat. Yeah.
Thank you. Boys, just to respect Jake's time, please, the last question for Riley.
Does your left foot have the same strengths as your right?
Yeah, I'd say it has the same strength, but probably not the same accuracy. So I do work on my left foot, and I've still got to keep continuing to work on my left foot, but it's about being able to hit the ball as hard as you want in that 1 metre of the net that you need to get it into. And I'll confidently say my right foot is more confident in doing that, but my left foot does have the ability to do it, just not at the same consistency.
All right, Jake, we really, really appreciate your time, and with no obligation, you took your time, stop whatever you're doing to help us here and help these kids to motivate them and keep them mentally healthy as well, which is so important, and we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Sergio, and I hope to see you all next year.
Definitely will be there, and boys, please say goodbye to Jake. All the best.
Bye.
Keep doing it, boys.
Thank you, Jake.
No, see you,
Luck
Sergio.
next season.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good luck. Good luck.